Great. Welcome, welcome. I'll let you all kind of come in and take a seat and we'll get started. I'll give it a few seconds to let everyone in. All right, well, let's get started. Welcome everyone to the AIA Austin Homes Tour for the year 2024. This is our 38th Homes Tour. It's hard to believe, but it's true. And we have an amazing homes tour for you this year. Of course, the tour itself is October 26 and 27. Today, we will be introducing you to three of the architects, the teams of three of the houses that will be on the tour. There are 9 homes on the tour this year. Today's theme, the themes that we came up with were a little bit kind of squishy, but this one isn't that squishy. It's renovate, remodel, restore. The 3 houses all are renovations, remodels, restorations, as well as really amazing projects that I think you will enjoy learning a little bit about today and then actually seeing in person on the tour. The 3 architecture teams, we have the Sundown Residence with Hogan Architects and Development, Offbeat with Nick Deaver and Jess Deaver Architecture, and the Hartford Residence with Restructure Studio. I want to begin by thanking our title sponsor this year, Intention Construction and Purpose. We're very grateful to them for supporting this tour. Thank you, Intention. I want to thank the underwriters for the 3 houses, Fleetwood Windows and Doors, J&L Hardware, Schoberg Homes, and Christy Nick Hardwood Flooring. We can't do these tours without the support of our generous sponsors. Thank you to our gold sponsors on this tour, Austin Iron, Element 7 Concrete, Form to Finish, and 8SC. Thank you so much. I want to give a big shout out to our amazing committee chairs this year, Candace Wong and Blake Smith. There, I hope you can see them waving from their windows. And our moderator today is Brett Gregg. Let me tell you a little bit about Brett. Brett Gregg, AIA, she's an architect, and she's the construction manager for Rouser Construction, a firm that specializes in building highly detailed, architecturally driven residences. She managed the City Park residence by Alter Studio Architecture, which is on the tour this year. And she's also on our Homes Tour committee. And that house is on the cover of Austin Home Magazine. Hope you'll check it out. Before transitioning to the construction field 10 years ago, she practiced architecture in Austin and Baltimore. Now let me turn it over to Brett to tell you more about our speakers.
Thank you, Ingrid. Welcome, everyone. I'm really excited to hear from our speakers today about these 3 beautiful projects. I'd like to go ahead and introduce each architect, and then we will get on into it. So first, we've got from Hogan Architects and Development, Joshua Hogan. He's the founder of Hogan Architects and Development and combines his Texan roots with a rich French heritage to inform his architectural approach. A UT Austin graduate, Joshua refined his skills in France under the guidance of Philippe Baudin, and further developed his expertise while working with Dick Clark at Dick Clark & Associates in Austin. His immersion in France's architectural traditions fostered a deep appreciation for blending timeless elegance with modern innovation. Joshua's diverse portfolio, from historic renovations to cutting-edge developments, reflects his commitment to creating impactful, meaningful spaces that bridge tradition and contemporary design, traditional and contemporary design. So welcome, Joshua. Next, we've got from Nick Deaver, Jess Deaver Architecture, Nick and Jess. They are a father and daughter design collaboration that emphasizes dialogue and discovery and results in an architecture reflective of each client. They are interested in creating memorable places that respond to the local context with a commitment to minimal demands on the environment and thoughtful use of nature and materials. Prominent in their designs, which have been described as modern and belonging to their place, are the use of natural light, the flow of space, and the dissolving of conventional distinctions between interior and exterior. Nick and Jess believe that buildings can awaken the senses and reconnect us with nature. They give special attention to the relationship between the owner, the builder, and the artisans throughout the process of design and construction, and aspire to enrich their clients' lives and the larger world through their work. And last but not least, from Restructure Studio, we have Karina Cole. Karina is the founder and principal architect of Austin-based residential architecture firm Restructure Studio and of the sustainable home plan provider Arbor Plans. After graduating from Rice University with a Bachelor of Architecture degree, she has practiced in Austin since 2003, and she launched Restructure Studio in 2010. Karina is recognized in the community for her ability to create designs that are both sustainable and representative of each individual client. She is also proud to have recently served Austin's thriving design community as chair for AIA Austin's Women in Architecture Committee. So thank you, Karina. So the format today of our presentation is that each architect is going to spend about 10 minutes discussing their project in the context of the theme today for the webinar. And after that, we'll open it up to questions. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and type them in the chat. And then at the end of the presentations, as time permits, we'll go through and hopefully have a great conversation. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and turn it over to Karina first.
Great, thanks, Brett. All right, I'm going to share my screen. All right, everybody. As Brett said, my name is Karina Cole with Restructure Studio, and I am so excited to talk to you guys about the Hartford residents today. Whoops, sorry. Okay, just a brief context for this project. Our clients came to us. It was a young couple. This was their first home. And they had purchased this property. The home was built in 1932 in the historic Old Enfield neighborhood. It was 1,475 square feet, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, and as you guys can see, 1 story. It had a really charming exterior. That's part of why they bought the house. They just fell in love with the brick and the windows and the style of the house. But the interior is definitely out of date. And as you can see in the picture on the right, the backyard, this was the original backyard. They had this wood deck. It was uncovered. There was very poor access to the backyard. Nothing was really connected very well. Also, all of the windows on this home were original to the house. So like they had those pulleys in the wall. Most of them didn't open anymore. And this leaded glass window in the front that everybody loved literally had holes in it. Like air was flowing through, bugs were coming in. It was a mess. So, and then it's on pier and beam. There was no insulation underneath the floorboards. So we had a lot of work ahead of us to get them fixed up. What they really wanted and what we discussed with them in terms of the program, they really wanted to improve flow. If you can see here on the right, this living room, it's tiny room. You'll see it when you come visit us on the tour, but it had circulation on like, most walls. You had entry, you were trying to get into the dining room. There's no place to put furniture in this room. And so we were struggling with that. You then get squeezed into this dining room with a very small connection to the back of the space into the kitchen, which had this crazy unused space that was, not very functional. So we really wanted to focus on that. We also wanted to just upgrade and create a welcoming, functional kitchen. They also wanted to add a primary suite, we had 2 bedrooms and 1 bath to start, and they really wanted 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. They also really wanted a second entrance from the driveway. You can see the only way to get into the house was really this entry door, and they really wanted it. This is the edge of the driveway right here. They wanted to be able to come into the house, not having to walk through their front yard. They needed a proper laundry and mudroom. You can see this tiny little laundry closet that they started with that blocked their door into the backyard and all their views. Create a better connection. There's no way to really see into the backyard, no connection through the house. Plus, we just wanted to increase energy efficiency, all while maintaining the historic charm of the house. That was really important to all of us. So for the design, the things that we decided to focus on, it's a small lot, but in order to really maintain that historic look of the house, we decided to keep it 1 story. It would have been easy to go up and add the primary suite on the 2nd floor, but that really just would not have worked well with what we were trying to accomplish. So we decided to add the primary suite on the 1st floor and at the back of the house so that we could keep that charming street facade that they love so much without really messing with it. We also decided, you can see on the existing floor plan, this whole back wall here is brick, and most of that was coming out for where we were going to tie in the addition. And so we decided to salvage all the brick on this back wall to reuse for the parts of the house that you could see from the street. And I'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. We were, of course, going to replace all the windows. And then we also decided to match the existing roof lines. That was really important as well, to just really make it a seamless transition from old to new. And on the interior, we painstakingly matched all of the trim to really, again, have that continuity. Okay, so I'm going to dive into some of the preservation techniques that we used on this project. These are some construction photos you can see on the left here. This was the back of the house before we'd just taken off that deck, that ugly deck that was there, but we hadn't added anything new yet. And so we had all of this brick back there that we wanted to salvage. So you can see this photo here, that's that little window from the kitchen. So this was us taking off the brick from the back of the house. And then this is looking from the driveway, so the street view. And you can see that this is the new 2nd entrance that we added to the house. And so this was during construction. And then on the far right, you can see the photo, the finished photo, where we used that brick from the back of the house to make it so that if you drove by, we didn't want you to be able to tell that this had been added on, that it was truly looked like it had always been a part of the house. And that was really important to us. While we were salvaging this brick, we discovered that it was an Elgin Butler brick. And I thought it'd be fun to give you guys just a really quick little history about Elgin Butler, because it's actually really important to Austin and how it got developed. I don't know if any of you guys have been to you may be familiar with the Butler Park on Barton Springs Road. It's named for Michael Butler, but you might not know who that is. He was an Irish immigrant who moved to Austin in the 1870s, and he opened Austin's very first brickyard in 1873 on the shores of the Colorado River. He discovered that the soil in Austin is rich in clay, which many of you may know if you have foundation problems with your homes. But the clay was ideal for brick making. And so he founded the Butler Brick Company, which is now the Elgin Butler Brick Company, 5 miles east of Elgin. And over the years, his company has operated at all these different sites along the Colorado River, from what is now I-35 to Zilker Park. He used these mule-drawn lines to transport buckets of clay across the Colorado River to the bluff of where Austin High School is now standing. It was just really interesting. And you can actually see 80% of the brick structures at UT were made by Elgin Butler bricks. And the Texas State Capitol is said to have over 2 million Butler bricks used in it. So it is truly a historic part of the city. And we're just super excited that our project got to continue that tradition, since it was built right after they had started their company. Okay, back to the Hartford residents. In addition to salvaging the brick, we also we really loved this leaded window design at the front of the house. You can see in the photo, you'll see it when you come in. It's right there in the living room. This is an interior view. And during construction, the owners fell in love with this so much that they actually commissioned this interior window over here on the right to match that front window, to kind of continue that play of that theme throughout the house. We also salvaged the front door. When they purchased the house, it looked like this on the left. It had been painted green, and we had the door completely refinished, just to, again, try to preserve as much as we could on the street facing facade for this project. Oh, this is really fun. This is one of my favorite stories about this house. When we added on the addition, as I mentioned, it was at the back of the house. And so this wall right here in the kitchen with this big window was the original back of the house. It kind of stretched across. And we added this hallway that continued back to the new primary suite. And the owners really wanted, my clients really wanted to maintain the historic or the original wood floors to the house. They discovered that right down the street at 1702 Hartford, they were demolishing, that neighbor was demolishing their house to build something new. You'll see a new structure there on the street today. And that house had the exact same wood floors as our project. We figured out that it must have been built by the same builder at the same time. They were the same species, same width, same age. And so my clients went and met with those neighbors and the construction team over there and said, hey, if you're going to throw these away, could we use them in our project? And they said, sure. So they got these free wood floors that were an exact match to what they already had. So I'm excited for y'all when you come and see and you walk down this hallway. I just want you to pay attention to kind of the seamless integration of those floors. Some opportunities that we took with this project, like I mentioned, we had these steeper roof lines that were in the existing house, and we wanted to keep those in the primary suite when we added on. But because it was new construction, we could actually have the ceiling line match the roof lines. And so we wanted to take advantage of those high ceilings in order to just it's a small footprint that we were working with. It makes the rooms feel a little bit bigger. We also really wanted to incorporate as much natural light as we could. You'll see the bedroom has windows on 3 sides. We have a lot of light coming into the new bathroom back here. Also, I mentioned sight lines at the beginning of the presentation. This was the original kitchen from the house. You can see we had one tiny little window to the backyard when we were looking at those brick pictures. And then this door that was partially covered by their laundry closet. So it was a big priority for us to, when we rethought this kitchen, we added this big window so that you could see all the way from front to back through the home and really make that connection. And again, opportunities to just improve the flow. These were pictures during construction. This was the original dining room. You can see you kind of walked through here and then got funneled into the kitchen. There was no way to get through to the rest of the house. And then this is during construction. You can see we were reusing that trim from other doorways in the project to really make it match. And then now as you walk through the project, it just makes the house flow so much better. And then this is a back porch that we added to the house. This is that big window from the kitchen. And again, that salvaged brick from the back of the house. We use that for a new fireplace. And this was just part of our effort to really connect the interior to the exterior, the kitchen to the backyard. And so we added this screened porch so that also this window was facing west, the backyard faces west. So we wanted to help mitigate the heat gain by adding this covered porch at the back and to really provide that little resting spot between the two spaces. And finally, the other opportunity we took, these older homes, as most people know, had no storage. The closets are tiny. And so this is that new laundry mudroom that we added with the secondary entrance. And we just tried to pack as much storage as we could in there for our clients, as well as in the redesigned kitchen, just to really make it as efficient as possible. Okay, I think I just went over my 10 minutes, but in conclusion, I just wanted to say that rehabilitating an older home takes this willingness to be flexible and to find these hidden opportunities that happen during the process. And it can seem daunting, but I just want to encourage everyone that it can be worth it to create this unique experience with this quality and character that you really just can't replicate with a new construction modern building. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all on the tour.
Thank you, Karina. It's just a beautiful, thoughtful project. So thank you for sharing it with us. Next, we're going to turn it over to Nick Deaver, Jess Deaver Architects.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Jess Deaver, this is Nick, and we're going to talk to you about our project Offbeat. First off, I just want to say that with any of these projects, it really requires you to appreciate the team that you build to be able to put this together. So we're really proud that we were able to work with Form to Finish as our builder on this project, and Alyssa West from Studio 8SC. Alyssa James from Studio 8SC, which was just a really great experience. And our clients, we want to thank them for the work that they've done with appreciating a part of Austin that is really close to our hearts. So Offbeat is located in a local historic district in Travis Heights, which is a 1 street long local historic district. And as part of the community, this property was derelict for some time. It's at the center of the street, so it was sort of an eyesore, unfortunately, for many years. And the community in this neighborhood really came together as they wanted to protect their neighborhood and the qualities here that they found really special. The clients that came to us, they were moving here from California, and they were looking for a place to retire and wanting a place that they could have walkable spaces, places they could get to downtown in a vibrant community, and also a place that had mature trees and houses. So it was really special that we were able to get to meet them, and they came to us looking at this property as something that they wanted to preserve, but also hoping that they would be able to have a modern house. They had experience working with an architect before, so they were able to bring some of that interest from their previous work. As you can see on the left here, we have the before pictures of the house that was derelict, and it had some unfortunate aspects to it. One of the things about this property, it was built in the 1940s, 30s, 40s, and it's a really interesting example of a storybook cottage, which has some asymmetries. You can see that the door and the window above were misaligned. That was purposely done. This neighborhood in Travis Heights was originally a blue-collar working neighborhood for families, and so you'll see modest scaled houses throughout, and you'll see some of this. The quality of the building is very functional and economically driven. So as we were looking at what we could do for this property, which has 2 beautiful live oaks sort of centered into the site, we were looking at right where the property shifts in the street. So you'll see that our property has sort of a rhombus shape to it. And the house was sitting sort of asymmetric or it was squared to the street, but not squared to its side property lines. So one of the things that Nick and I first discussed when we were looking at how we could put an addition on was we wanted to keep the scale of that original house. And so we knew that we wanted to put that addition on in the back as a single story. But we had originally thought that you would put this addition on and it would sort of just fill in here in the back. We then looked at being able to get as much space as possible open over here for our trees to have space. And then we really started thinking about what it would mean if we were to create two separate gardens on either side of this 1 width wide addition. This gives us a narrow garden and a primary garden with accessibility to walk all the way through. And the way that we thought about it was that as architects, we're designing not just for the built spaces inside, but all the way through. And so this is where you see some of that idea of bringing the architecture all the way through and into the terracing that we worked with Elisa on. So you can see here that it's now becoming, that is why the addition shifted to follow the side property lines as opposed to staying squared to the original existing house. Here you can see in an aerial view that we've got, this was done by Raymond Castro. This photo shows that our addition is below that ridge line so that we can protect the view. And then you can see pretty clearly here the sort of dancing terraces that are, when you come to visit, take some time to take a look at the size of these terraces. They're purposely designed to be room sized so that you could actually feel like the land itself is coming up to the house. One of the things that was a big challenge when we were designing, as you can see here, there's a large number of stairs going up into the property. That from the back of the property here in the back corner, the north, I think that's the northwest, that's going to be a 4 foot, almost a 4 foot drop all the way to the southeast side of this property. And so to try to, find a balance there, that when you're entering into the house, you're not stepping up so many steps, and that the house itself isn't divorced from the land. Sort of a way to reconnect it was for us to think about these terraces as part of the stairs. So this is part of that procession to get up into the house. We've got a more modest front porch here that's going to give you a direct entry into the property. This will give you a nice view of seeing how, as we move in, that this gallery is really where those walls start to shift and give you that dynamic viewpoint of sort of an offbeat walls as you go into the addition. Other things to note here in the house are that we did some things to bring light in. You can see there's some skylights that were brought in. We have a separate studio in the back that's connected to this house through the ceiling and through the roof, but it's not accessible from the main house. You come out here to the deck and you go into this studio. That was a function of the clients having long-term guests that they wanted to have some privacy for, and also for this studio to really belong to the deck and the outdoor pool area. So our clients were heavily into fitness. They're into staying strong and healthy. And so as part of that, this sauna and the studio, which is a fitness studio for them normally, it's just a flexible space for guests as well, really connects you to that feeling of health and wellness as you move in here. Other things to really notice, and I'm sorry I'm going a little fast, but other things to notice are this tree bench, what we're calling a tree bench. This is a cantilevered bench. You see how close we are to our heritage trees. Here in Austin, we really like to protect our trees. That's another view here of our entry with a carport that we've cantilevered over here to give us some, to allow us to have a carport sort of on the side of this rather narrow infill city lot. This is, we can come back to that. We're gonna talk about that detail. Here's in the entry, you're getting your first views of that skewed wall, and how the flooring that we had to use all new flooring because the flooring that was existing was unfortunately not in in a good situation. There was not enough of it that was usable. So we have strip white oak flooring, and we positioned that to be aligned with the existing house, which is how you can see this subtlety. So when you come into that on the tour, you can see the subtlety of the walls actually shifting over it. One of the things that we really appreciate and we enjoy in our architecture is being able to connect what you're seeing outside with the inside. So one of the ways that we were able to do this was opening up this entry, which had a flat ceiling like the rest of the house. And we were able to open this up, and so that we could see some of the structure of that gable and really celebrate what was really beautiful about the asymmetries here. We flipped this existing door so that the window in the existing door was even further out of alignment with the window above, giving us some more of that playfulness that we really wanted to highlight. This is a view of the owner's bedroom, now looking out into a screen porch that's accessible to the living space and to the owner's bedroom. And you can see that this and the addition and that deck are really wrapping around and embracing the trees, the live oaks. One of the things that you'll see here in the siding and the cladding that we chose to use, where the front, the existing house is a very delicate horizontal coursed lap wood siding or wood teardrop siding. It's a delicate. We went with a white to keep it very clean and a nice modern look that was similar to the original house. We decided to use a more rugged, vertical, rough sawn, varied width and depth wood cypress siding for the exterior of cladding of the addition. One of the things that we thought was really exciting was as we were looking at some of these spaces in the bathrooms, take a look at when you visit these sills that are in the bathroom and this ledge that runs the length of their owner's bathroom. You can see it up here as well. This is what's called a sinker cypress. This is cypress wood that's reclaimed from the bottom of rivers. Giving it a little bit less porosity, making it a little more durable for moist areas. And this was something that when you have a great builder, they're going to be able to help you find these really amazing things. Form to Finish was fantastic at being able to go and locate that for us once we started really getting into thinking about how we could find that product. Here's a look at our kitchen. We brought that rugged siding in. So you'll see that this is a repeated theme that kind of wraps around. And so this box here, which holds a pantry and wraps around the gallery space, you can see that it's a response to the other side of the wall, which is going to have that more refined white sheetrock, that beautiful painted wall that's going to be where they hang their art. Looking back towards the front door, you can see how close we are to this majestic tree. And one of the things that I think was really exciting was that in our desire to protect the tree, but get as close as possible to it, we wanted you to have the experience of this architectural length, 30-foot concrete bench inside the house. It's board formed like the exterior of the foundation of the house of the new addition to give it that feeling of like a park bench. So even when you're inside, it feels as though you're sitting just underneath a tree in a park. And we were able to do that by cantilevering. You can see that we had to cantilever, we had a significant cantilever. So when you're outside in the garden, you can look underneath and see how that works. Some of the subtleties in the roof, which is curved, are expressed again in the playfulness of the curve on the one side of this bench. This is a detail from that that shows where the windows are able to actually be formed into that concrete bench so that we have a very flush look where when you're sitting here, it really does feel like we're trying to reduce the transition from the indoor to the outdoor so that it feels as close as possible. These are some site-built windows that we worked really hard with. We worked on really hard with Form to Finish and Marble Falls. This is a look from the outside at that bench, so you can see that cantilever and the beautiful steel work here of the that was done by Element 5, one of our sponsors. And then you can the screen porch on the left. I'm going to try to speed through some of these because I know we're short on time. So here's coming in from the carport. If you're walking around the gate, you can see that the screen, this is a really interesting view of the screen porch. You can see that pronounced height from the drop off of the property. And what's really exciting for us is getting these details really tight to where you can see how thin the roof is. It gives you that feeling of, rugged buildings out in the landscape that you would see. This is a look from the back property. So you can see, take your time when you come visit us, come out here, go and take a look and walk all the way around the whole site. And you can start to see some of the beautiful parts of the back of this house where you can, we worked really hard to get that, that roof to be rolled and corrugated in a position that it's actually visible underneath. So that when you're looking out the windows, you're actually able to see some of that metal coming through. And then, yeah, we're really excited to have everyone come and see us. And We hope that if you have any questions, we can answer it for you. We'll also have our builder there, as well as some of the folks who did some of the fine steel work. And you can check out some more of our details in person. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jess. Great presentation, and I hope everyone gets a chance to go see it. The project has such a beautiful, like, experiential transition as you walk from the street all the way through. So I hope everybody gets to feel that too. So thanks again. Okay, we're going to turn it over for last but not least, Joshua Hogan, and talk about the Sundown Parkway residents.
All right. Hello, my name is Josh Hogan with Hogan Architects and Development, and this is the Sundown Residence. The guiding ethos of the project was preserving legacy while embracing innovation. In this presentation, I'll provide an overview of the project. I'll highlight the original architect, Robert Renfro, and his distinctive design philosophy, and we'll also examine the dynamics of our team and the crucial role the client's involvement played in shaping the project vision. Additionally, we'll delve into the renovation process and the key design considerations that guided our work. The Sundown Residence is located in West Austin and was originally designed by Robert Terry Renfro, also known as Bob, in 1983. Renfro's design philosophy is deeply rooted in postmodern influences, as reflected in the home's asymmetrical roof lines, split-level floor plan, and the dynamic layout that cascades down the site, making it a truly distinctive property in the area. To meet the client's programmatic needs, we added a second floor and expanded the east wing, increasing the home's total area from approximately 4,500 square feet to 6,000 square feet. Here's an aerial shot to provide context for the site. You'll notice that it's densely wooded and secluded, and it's really this relationship with the site that's a fundamental design element and plays an integral role in enhancing the overall experience of the home. The natural surroundings create a serene atmosphere, allowing residents to connect with nature while enjoying their private sanctuary. However, to better understand the home, let's first take a step back and look at the original architect, Bob Renfro, and his design philosophy. Bob was born in East Texas, like myself, and he attended the University of Texas for his undergraduate studies in the 1930s. He served in the military and the Air Force in the 1940s, after which he pursued industrial design at the Pratt Institute and later received his Master's of Architecture from Yale University. Bob later enjoyed a very distinguished teaching career in the School of Architecture at the University of Texas. And here are some sketches and prototype designs by Bob while attending the Pratt Institute. And Bob's work history is quite impressive. He collaborated with postmodern icons such as Robert Venturi and Charles Moore, which significantly influenced his design approach. And here are a few projects that he worked on while at Venturi's office. He also designed a variety of unique buildings in and around Austin, and here are a few examples. And in addition to work, he also participated in the World Fair and extensively traveled. And he even worked in Egypt, where he sketched cenotaphs for archaeological digs. And so I feel like these experiences translate into the key design elements of the Sundown Residence. The house is truly distinctive. It reflects Bob's unique perspective and experiences. So with a clear context of the home established, we obviously faced a significant design challenge. How to honor the home's legacy while integrating innovative solutions to accommodate a growing family. Achieving this required a cohesive understanding of the project's vision among our client, the architect, and the builder. The homeowners really drew the inspiration from the charm of the house, and it reflected their upbringing and the vibrant individualism of the 1980s. And so they wholeheartedly embraced the home's unique eclectic character. The clients played an essential role in shaping the project vision, collaborating closely with the homeowners and guided by the expertise of Bob as a mentor. We successfully enhanced the home while preserving its rich legacy. So here's the site where the home is located. The street sits at a higher elevation, guiding visitors down toward the home's entry. One of the most striking features of both the site and the house is their harmonious relationship with nature. As guests descend along this journey to the front porch, they encounter a dry creek cascading down the hillside. And upon entering the home, it's this journey, it continues, with the creek remaining a significant element of the overall experience. And inside, a pivotal moment occurs as the floor plan shifts direction and the space opens up, offering expansive views that lead to a grotto where the creek flows. And it's this connection with the site that is it's crucial to enhancing the overall experience within the home. Here are a few images of the site showcasing its lush, heavily wooded landscape. And it's within this rich context that the home truly exists in harmony with nature. And here's a close-up view of the grotto. And you can see water gently trickling down. I like to call it the Austin version of falling water. After heavy rains, the area becomes a vibrant stream flowing beneath the house's bridge. And the grotto serves as a focal point of the site, as the path of the dry creek culminates here, drawing both the natural landscape and the inhabitants of the home into a shared experience. Here are a few photos of the original home. As you can see, the site is densely wooded with a breezeway that gracefully descends down the hillside. The home's serpentine shape embraces the creek at the back and harmonizes with the natural landscape. Overall, the home sprawls thoughtfully across the terrain with each design element carefully considered to enhance its connection with the surroundings. Here are some interior shots. You'll notice the cascading steps, the split level floor design, and the asymmetry of the volumes. The serpentine shape of the layout, along with the eclectic characteristics of the various spaces, contributes to the home's distinctive charm. And preserving this unique eclectic quality was a key focus of our design. However, there were some elements that were later added to the house that conflicted with the original design intent. The photo on the left, you can see a jacuzzi room that was added to the back of the house. It was literally just, added on. The wood siding was still on the interior of the wall there. And we also saw the introduction of some mechanical chases and other features that just weren't really part of the initial concept. So we ultimately decided to remove those in the remodel and really just to preserve the integrity of the original design concept. So we had, 4 strategic design parameters that we operated within. Number one, and perhaps the most important, was how could we integrate with the original design? So how could we ensure that the new addition harmonizes with the home's architectural integrity? And the number 2 parameter was we added a second floor. So we needed to expand the overall living space to meet the programmatic needs of the family. And we also incorporated modern upgrades, contemporary materials and technologies were incorporated just to enhance the functionality and efficiency. And we focused on an overall family living enhancement. So, how could we create inviting spaces that promote interaction and comfort for the entire family? Here's the floor plan. As you can see, the layout steps down the site and wraps around the grotto. One of the most challenging design considerations was the overall massing and the stepped roofs for the addition of the second floor, which is located above the bedroom wing. This places all the primary bedrooms in the west wing of the home. We also removed the jacuzzi addition, as I said, which allowed us to repurpose that space for a pool and deck, taking advantage of the naturally flat area before it slopes down the hillside. Additionally, a small but significant change involved squaring off the bay window in the kitchen. We opted for a fully corner, like butt glazed window that actually mirrors the design of the windows in the dining room. And another key design modification was the expansion of the media room wing on the east side of the house. Here's a view of the home during construction. As you can see, much of the house was reframed due to significant structural defects in the existing framing system. However, this situation presented an opportunity to modify some of the plate heights in the living room, allowing the massing of the new second floor to harmonize more effectively with the overall design of the home. And here's another view looking up at the grotto from the lower side of the site. As you can see, the media wing on the left is positioned lower, while the roofs rise in height as you move towards the second story. And to accommodate the upgraded modernized systems, we implemented a drop ceiling to create a plenum space across the entire main area of the home. So the roof structure was engineered to support the full load of the framing system of the drop ceiling independently. So this allowed us a lot of flexibility to incorporate large linear openings for HVAC grills. And this design approach really optimized the functionality of the space, but also maintained the aesthetic integrity. And given the poor condition, and there was quite a bit of water infiltration issues with the original siding, we chose to just modernize the entire cladding system. So we employed a zip sheathing system with liquid flashing, and we complemented that with a rain screen and straight vertical grain cedar siding. And to prevent cupping and deterioration of the siding, we incorporated a dado cut on the back of all the boards, so allowing any potential warping to at least cup outward. And the rain screen also, helps with ventilation, and it mitigates the moisture buildup behind the wood siding. So as previously noted, the guiding ethos of the project was to preserve the legacy of the home while embracing innovation. Here you can see the series of before and after images that illustrate the transformation. So this is the before, looking down at the entry porch. And this is the after. And this is a before shot looking at the entry porch as if you were standing in the dry creek. And this is the after. And here's a before image looking at the parlor and original fireplace. And this is the after. This is the bay window in the kitchen that we squared off. And here's the image after. And here are a few shots. This is the master bathroom on the second floor, which we added as part of the addition. And this is the master bedroom on the second floor. And obviously we had a great team on our project. So we'd like to say thank you to Schoberg Homes and all of the other consultants and collaborators. And thank you guys for attending. And if you'd like to follow more of our work, find us at hoganbuildings.com or Hogan Architects on Instagram. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Josh. It's such a radical transformation aesthetically, but it's so interesting how it works within the existing footprint, and it's an awesome update. So thank you for sharing. Okay, well, it looks like we've got, about 10 minutes left for some Q&A. I know we've got a couple things in the chat. Go ahead and add on to there when you can. Karina we may just have to see her face. She's having a hard time. There we go. She is. Okay. I do want to just start with kind of a general question for all of you, because I think it's pretty relevant to us as architects and builders, and especially with these really personalized projects, is how, if each of you or one of you can talk about how your clients came to you, and also how the client's involvement influenced your design process at all. If anyone wants to kind of take that.
I'll start on that one. Our clients came to us in an unusual way, but a special way. We love clients that come to us from seeing some of our other work. Sometimes they'll come by reference, someone knows us. But these folks who moved here from California found us actually on the AIA
Website.
website that represents, so all of us, the architects in Austin, so well. And it gave them a chance to actually look at a few choices. And anyway, they came upon some of our work we had done that they appreciated. And so they came to us having understood kind of the sensibilities that we demonstrate in our work. Working with them was really interesting because they first came to us wanting, looking at a neighborhood where they might tear down a house and do a modern house like they had done in California. And they were very interested in that a modern lifestyle that was connected to the outdoors. Many of these historic neighborhoods have houses that are designed for kind of an earlier time. And they were somewhat concerned about, they loved the downtown areas, but they are in these little walkable neighborhoods, but they were concerned about whether or not they could have a personalized house that connected them outdoors, but be in a sort of an area that cares about preservation. As we met them, they looked at a bit of our work and became convinced that you can live in these historic neighborhoods. You can pay attention and appreciate historic structures, but you can renew them and give them a new life. And we like to think that houses they're not museums. Even though we love preservation, we don't preserve them for the sake of making a physical thing to look at. Our houses live, and so we convinced them that they could have both. That they could find a house in a neighborhood that would preserve the character and the quality, but at the same time end up giving us a chance to make that modern design.
Thank you, Nick. Josh, how did your clients find this property and find you? I don't think we've talked about that at all yet.
Well, so the clients and myself were good friends. So we've been friends for, I don't know, the past 15 years. And they just kind of stumbled upon the property. It was for sale. It was pretty derelict. No one had been living in the home for at least 2 or 3 years. But they kind of fell in love with its, I don't know, kind of funky, eclectic charm. They had been looking at other homes in Westlake, and they just felt like, a lot of those homes were a bit more sterile, cookie cutter type of thing, like the modern white box. So, they wanted something different, and the site is just beautiful. A lot of the landscaping at the Sundown residence was by the owner. Like even before they started the renovation process, he would go out and he planted a lot of the established trees that are now there. He really got his hands dirty and he has a green thumb, obviously. So he really kind of spearheaded that vision. And I think, they just fell in love with the home, and they recognized, the design of it. And, once they purchased the property, they looked up the original architect, Bob. And before we started any design work, we all had a meeting on site with Bob Renfro, which was an amazing experience just to talk to him about, this, project he designed in the 1980s. And we just had that relationship throughout the whole project. And I even met with Bob this morning. We were at the house. He wanted to take a look at it after it was all finished. I don't think he had been out there. And so it's just, having Bob as a mentor for me, which I'm, young and early in my career. And then, Bob is 93 now, and he just has all this experience. He's worked with Venturi and all these, well-known architects. It was just a very collaborative and great process.
That's so cool. Karina, do you want to chime in a little bit too? Or?
Sure, just real quick. Very different from y'all. Our clients found us because they just purchased the house and their realtor recommended our firm to them. And I sadly did not even recognize the realtor's name. So I'm so thrilled and honored that we have these realtors out there who are fans that I don't know. And yes, on this project, again, it was a small, they had a very tight budget. The owners were incredibly involved in this project. And I think that we always say in our firm that the more involved that our clients are, the better the product is at the end. And so I mean, they had their hands in everything. They were part of every selection. And for better or for worse, the contractor on this project was actually let go before it was done. And so we had a huge part in helping them finish the project. It was pretty much the homeowners and our team. So yeah, it was a very close collaboration, very different from a lot of the other projects that we work on, but it was truly meaningful, and we really enjoyed it. So
I think each of your responses is a good reminder about what a relationship-driven business we're all in. You know, from referrals to mentorship, to advocacy for preservation and being able to show off, Nick, your own house to kind of educate your clients. That's fascinating. Let's go. We do have a couple of questions in the chat. And actually, I'm curious about this one too. This is actually one of the later ones from Steffi. Hi, Steffi. She was wondering how everybody addressed visitability, but you'll have to educate me. Is visibility a factor in renovations? Is that a code requirement in renovations in Austin?
Well, yeah, exterior visitability is not, but interior visitability is. And so one of the things is being able to think about it in terms of how accessible your a bathroom and living space and main spaces are on the inside. But for us, that was a paramount concern as our clients are wanting to age in place. They're wanting to retire in this home. And so we made some subtle shifts in the house. For instance, we, instead of using towel bars in the bathroom, in the owner's bathroom, you can see that we actually blocked and used grab bars. So we found some really delicate architectural looking minimalist grab bars that are really nice, and they also function as towel bars. And then we also have sort of pre-designed in advance on the site plan to be able to put in a ramp later to a side entrance if necessary. Just thinking about accessibility for the whole site and being able to incorporate that in phases for the client as the phases of their life change.
Interesting.
You know, one thing, Brad, I'll try and keep this quick, but
Yeah.
one of the things that we would say as architects is, even if as just said, because these are existing houses or historic, they didn't require the exterior visitability, which a new house in Austin would. But even when things are not required by code, architects really are going to pay attention to their clients and care about their well-being well enough to consider those things to begin with. So even if our renovation was not something that that was required to have an exterior visitability, we did consider it and discuss that with our clients before we came to our final design. And if it had been, which gave them the chance, that if a ramp would have wanted to be integrated into even our historic structure, we would have found a way to do that. And as Jess said, we do have a way, but architects will go beyond what the minimal requirements are, because we're really looking after the best interest of our clients.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, on the other end of Josh, I saw that you responded to Steffi, but actually it just went to the host and the panelists. But I'm not as Zoom adept as I should be either. But you have sort of the other side of the coin here, that your project is technically not visitable because there are so many steps in that existing design, but also you happen to be in Travis County jurisdiction, and so it didn't necessarily come up. And I don't know if that project really could have been adapted and still held the original intent. So.
Yeah, bring your hiking boots for the tour.
Yeah.
There are a lot of steps, but I'll say, yeah, like, there are a lot of steps down for the front entry porch, but it's really like those steps and that, journey procession that really makes, that experience special at the Sundown House.
Absolutely. Okay, we're almost done. I don't want to ignore, Orion had a couple of sort of more technical questions early on, and mostly directed towards the Devers, but I think it's true for Karina's project too, as you added on a small lot in the city. in terms of, it looks like you're, sort of pushing the envelope on impervious cover, DVERs. And what were some of the methods that you may have used to kind of get over that restriction or walk the fine line?
Yeah, we were right up against that, that impervious, as we all are in these tight infill city lots, urban lots. But one of the ways that we addressed it was by making those terraces in the front pea stone. So they become like pea stone steps that are permeable, and they allow water to go through, which is better for our trees. It's better, these rules are essentially codes to help, these trees stay a vibrant urban forest. And so we have to really kind of think about them that way. And we like to do things like that if we can, because it also feels more landscaped as opposed to feeling like everything is so hard. And I think, Karina, what did you think about in terms of impervious?
Yeah, similar to you, Jess. It's a small lot, and it was older. And so, yeah, I mean, the impervious cover did inform a lot about how big the addition could be on our project, especially, as I mentioned, we really wanted to keep it 1 story, similar to what you guys did. That was really important for us for the context of the neighborhood and the house itself. So, yeah, we really just incorporated that into the design of how much can we add on to the house? Where does it make sense to add on to the house? You'll see when you visit, the screen porch, like I mentioned, is very small. And that was part of it too. We really wanted to have a covered outdoor space, but we had to limit it in order to maintain the impervious cover, which again is important. We want to have nice yard space. So it's that balance, right, of figuring out how much you can really put into it. And then to Steffi's question, I would love to figure out how to make an old pier and beam house visitable without adding a 30-foot ramp. These older homes, they don't have the garages or the carports that you can, which is now where I tend to put most of those visitable entrances. So I'd love to put our heads together. This house is similar, visitable from the interior, but I think there would be an opportunity to add a ramp at the front porch if we needed to. And that is certainly something that I like to consider on as many of our projects as possible. But when you have an older home and you're trying to work with what you've got, it is challenging for sure to figure that out. So,
Brett, I had something to add to that for all architects and for designers, and that is that sometimes it's difficult to when your client is asking for certain things to be in their house that are straining either some regulation or whatever. We've gotten more comfortable over the years with actually proposing and challenging our clients to rethink some of their size requirements. And I'll admit, in this house that we've done, I know our clients would have loved to have had more closets. They would have loved to have had more storage opportunities. And we made choices. But one of the things that they did along with us, we didn't do it to them. We basically brought them in this conversation and said, this would be an opportunity rather than have smaller active room spaces and have the storage rooms, the closets to them. We could choose to have the more put our space in the flow of the house and limit our closets. So our clients went through a kind of renovation of lifestyle, if you will, giving up, say, sort of that idea of having a walk-in closet or the things that we think of as luxurious or comforting. But I think clients, when given those choices, sometimes they surprise us and they'll choose the thing that might be less. And I think that our clients would, and you could ask them if you bump into them on the tour, I think that they would say that they made a good trade.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, well, just one more sort of quick technical question, and then we will wrap up for now. I want to real quick, let's address Orion's other question about the corrugated metal peak, the role in it. Was there anything special that had to be done to achieve that, or just really great subcontractors?
Yes,
That too.
yeah. Well, it was very interesting. It's obviously that that curved portion of the peak was a single piece. And so what it required is essentially a metal fabricator that actually can roll a shape. And it does take a contractor to find the sources for this, because there are obviously more limited places that have these capabilities. So Ryan and David at Farm to Finish were creative in finding that source, and the roofer that they picked had the experience to do it. But one of the things that we did is that we've done a kind of curved form in the past, and knew that it was able to be done. We just didn't have a source for it. So we were counting on our builder to get our idea to reality by bringing in the specialist.
I appreciate that plug for hiring good builders, good creative problem-solving builders. So
Yes, that's exactly.
Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us today for our first of 3 webinars for the 2024 Homes Tour. And thank you to Karina and Josh and Jess and Nick for spending the time to prepare and present for us. And Ingrid, is there anything more you wanna say?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Brett, and thanks to all of our speakers. And I want to let everyone know that once we've had the 3 webinars, so next week and the week after that, we will share all of the recordings with all ticketed Homes Tour purchasers. And after the tour, they will also be available on our YouTube channel.
So yeah, with that, I hope everybody has a great rest of your day, and thank you guys again.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks
guys.
so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the Homes Tour.